Guys, this is the component we are gonna build today with some React Spring animations. So the main content will be doing the animations with React Spring. So this is a select component. This is what it does. So you can pick on any gradient, this one for example, and it will show the name. Also, maybe this one. So you have the name again. Lastly, this one. Okay. So I'm gonna start delete, deleting all the code. Let me just deleting. I mean, just the we are using the TypeScript extension, so a little bit of TypeScript. But don't worry, it's pretty similar to just using JavaScript or just React itself. It looks very similar. So let me just delete all of this and uh, let's just import React and we can export export default and just app, actually function app. Oh, sorry. um, So here we have to return something. So I'm gonna return an H1 and just say hello world. Now I'm gonna save this and save all. Okay, so let's see. So we are starting from scratch. Okay. So first I'm gonna do the imports that we're gonna need from React Spring. So I'm gonna do import. If you hear some scratch noises, that's my dog. Um, it's too late to go outside. Sorry. So use transition. Use transition. So use transition. There will be one hook. Then use spring. Spring. Sorry, the auto completion is not working here. So use chain. So use transition, use spring, use chain, then config, then animated. I'm gonna explain all of the what this stuff do, but now I'm just importing. So animated, for example, is like when you want to animate a tag. For example, you say instead of just having a div, or an H1 or a P, and instead of having just a regular tag, you say animated dot div or animated dot P or animated dot H1 or whatever tag, and you pass the animations that you want to use. You will see soon. So use Spring Ref. Spring Ref. Um, Use Spring Ref, and then all of this is from my god, let me just add sign. This will be React Spring Web. Okay, so we have it from there, and then we have to import this file, let me just grab it. This is just an array with objects, and every object has a name property, a description, and a CS. This is important because from here we are grabbing the gradients. So it has a CSS property and a height. So so you can see everyone, like it's a long list of just boxes with gradients and a name and just that. So we're going to import that with the name of data. Import, like pretending that data is something that we are getting from, I don't know, an API or something, just simulating that. And I will say dot data, and then we have to import the styles. I'm not gonna explain any styles in this tutorial because I wanna mainly focus on the animations. So I'm gonna try to explain the best I can the animations. Um, these styles dot module dot css. Okay, so if we go down, we have the hello world. Let's just give it a save all. Um, and let's start first with a little bit of logic. Um, we want to have like const. We're gonna use the use state hook. Sorry, I'm trying to grab this. So open. So you open the square brackets. You grab the variables from the array, and then it will be set open, and you're basically grabbing from the use state. Um, so this will be use state, and we can give it a. Actually, we have to extract the use state from React, so it won't complain. So we have to use state. There we have it, and use state. And this, we're using TypeScript, so I'm gonna pass the type of the variable that I'm using right now. So in this case is Boolean. So we just specify there, and it will start being false. So that will be for opening and closing the menu. And then we have the state for selecting an option. When you select one gradient and you select the name, or you have to store somewhere the name of that gradient, and that name sorry, that name will be stored in a variable called option, and then we will set the value, so set option. So that will be use state, sorry, so user use state, and this will be actually a string. And for now, it will be just an empty string. Then that's it for now. We will have another state for the rotation of the arrow, but I don't want to do that yet. That let's leave that for the ending, for the final. So we will have handle open, const um, handle open, and that will just be an arrow function. And in handle open, we will handle two things. We will set the rotation for the arrow. Rotation arrow. The arrow, I mean, just it's just an icon that have it. We want to rotate that, like to turn around. And then we have set open. Set open, and this is to toggle the menu. So we say open and we open, we negate. So it will be the opposite. Um, the opposite of the, like if it's false, it will be true, and if it's true, it will be false. So that will toggle the menu. And then we actually have the option. We have to set the option. So I'm gonna create another const, and I'm gonna call it on option select, and I'm gonna do sorry, on option select that will be an arrow function, and actually a double, because let me just pass. We have to receive here a value, and this value will be a string. String. And then we have to set here, set option, option, and we set the value. Okay, so then we have to start playing around with the animations, and we want to use our first use spring ref. So I'm gonna name it like this, const and spring API, spring API. And this will use the spring ref, and this is a function, and then we have const, and we want to extract from the use spring hook. We want to the structure to, well, actually just one value, that is size, and then we want to spread all the rest of the props of the states of the values. So size, and then we use the spread operator. We call it rest because they are the rest of the props. And then we say use spring, um, and use spring receives an object, a configuration object. So here we can configure all the stuff that our animation is going to have. So let's just, first we have to pass the ref, And this is Spring API. Then we have the config that we imported previously, and that will be just this is mostly from the documentation, so don't worry if you don't understand like very much. I basically just use a lot the documentation to do this, and yeah, mainly copy some stuff from there. And um, then we have the from, and this is we have two properties that are very easy to understand. There are from and to, and it's like before and after, like from where the starting point, and then to the next point, right? So it's from and to, and it will be we have to set the size, and the size will be 20%. Um, sorry, I that's 30. Sorry, I want 20%. Um, I'm writing here in the dark. You know what? Let me just turn on the lights. Sorry, that wasn't good for my eyes. Okay. Now the lights are on. Let's see if we can type faster. We have background, and background will be white. Then we have the to attribute, and it will be, let me just size, and here we want to change the size to 100, but depending on if the menu is open or closed. So if it's open, we grab the state open, and if it's open, we want 100%, and if it's closed, so else, we want just 20%. And you can play around with other properties, background, for example, and you can make it like open, and you make it first white, and then else you can make it, I don't know, red or whatever you want, but I'm gonna just keep it white. So that line you can completely ignore it, like you can just put white here. um, and then um, we want to do that was for use Spring, but now we want to build our animation for the transition. So I'm gonna use Spring Ref again, but this time I'm gonna call it Trans API, and Trans API is gonna call use Spring Ref. That's a function, and then I'm gonna call the function transition, transition, and transition is gonna use the use transition hook. So use transition, and use transition has two arguments. The first argument is gonna depend on if the menu is open or not. So if the menu is open, we are going to pass the array data, that is this array, this one with every object as a item. So data and else empty array. So I will just do empty array. And then we can pass the configuration object. And the configuration object has a ref that will be trans API. And then we have trail. And trail is different from delay. Trails is like a sequence. So if the sequence will be 400 data divided data dot length. Then we will have from, and from will be starting with zero opacity, so it's not visible at the beginning, and the scale also to set to zero, so it doesn't have any width or height. Like if the size is zero, is minimum, and when you increase the scale, what it does is like it looks like the component pops up. Yeah, so it I don't know how to say pops up, like appears, and so in the enter will be opacity 1, so there is fully visible, and the scale will be also 1. And then for the last value, that is leave, that is when the element is going to leave. Like, from enter and leave, they're very explicit. So opacity, that will be 0, and then scale will be 0, and then we want to use a change, like we want to change the animation. So this one is like one of the harder to grasp, but it's like this. It's just change. So use change. It will depend on the menu again, open or close. So if the menu is open, we will have an array with two ref. The first ref is the Spring API, and the second ref is the trans API. And then else we have an array, but in this case we will have inverted, like trans API and then the Spring API. Those are the refs. And then we have another, as the second argument, we pass another array and 0, I think, seconds, and open, and then we play with the opacity, so it will start at 0.1 and then 0.9, and that's it for now. Then we have a lot of animations. Sorry for that. We have the animation for the label, so it will be const label. So it will be use Spring. So use Spring, and this will receive an object, and this has a delay because it doesn't look good without a delay. I was playing around and I find that that delay 100 1000 and 500 delay is best. And then transform, um, depending on the open, like open the menu again. Okay, so sorry, translate 3D, and we have X, Y, and Z, like in your geometry classes, geometry, analytical geometry. I don't know if you, uh, some of you like maths. Then translate 3D, 0, 0, 0. So X, Y, and Z. And here in the y-axis, we actually want to move down. And I want to move down 60 pixels. And then we have to play with the opacity because this won't look good if the opacity um, the opacity have to increase like in an interval of time. So open will be 0, else will be 1. Okay, so we have that. And now we have to do the markup. Let me just save for now. Save. Just wait and hope that we don't have any errors. And okay, now we have to do the markup. So we open two big parentheses and we start with a div. So sorry, uh, this div has a class name of, it won't be strings, it will be like this, styles dot, and I'm grabbing the styles that we imported here, this styles variable, and I'm gonna grab styles dot and the name of the class that I'm using here, that is this one. For this one is wrapper. So I'm gonna copy wrapper, copy, and I'm gonna paste it there. So I'm just showing you this time, but next time I just gonna do dot and whatever. This time I'm just showing you so you understand where the styles are coming from. Um, okay, so styles dot wrapper, and then we have an animated div. And actually we have some stuff in the, we have to pass some stuff to the animated div. So style, and we wanna use the spread all the rest of the props that we the structure from the use spring, and then the width that it will be 90% of the container, uh, and then we want the height, and the height will be the other prop that we the structure. So let me show you where there are. So there are from the use spring, if you remember. You see here. So these ones. So then we have a class name for this div, class name, and that will be styles dot container. And then we have, this is the div that will hide and show the menu. So we are doing that here on the here. So we have to call it this function. We have to call it on an on-click attribute. So this is the place where I will call it, because let me just on-click. Okay, so handle open. Okay, so we have that. And then let's see. Let's just save for now and see what we have. Save all. Compile successfully. Right? Oh my god. Why is it taking so long? Okay. Okay, so we have this. And if we click here, the menu opens. Okay. Okay, this is good. We have it like here. So we are just missing the transition, and so we are gonna do like this. Uh, transition, transition, and transition. It has two properties: style and item. Item is the main one, like the main one, the most important one. And here we have an animated div. But this animated div will be a self-closing div. And let me tell you that in this case, in this transition, this item um, is every object that is inside of the array. So object 0, index 0, right? This one. Then the one, it will be this one. Then second will be this one, and so on. So with that in mind, we have to pass some values to this animated div. So first we have a class name, and this is styles dot item. And when I say this, I don't mean this item. I actually mean I have a style that is actually called the class item. So let me see, somewhere here. So you see here we have item. So we have that item, and then we have style. And for style, we have to populate style that it will be this style. So we are spreading those styles in there. And then the background will be this item, but we want to grab from that item, that is each one of these items, we want to grab the CSS property. So that will be the background. So we want to say item dot CSS, and with that, let me just save it. Save all. Okay. Yeah. So let's reload the page and click it, and we have it. Okay. So if you see like this is slow down, like you see that it's kind of slow down, it's because I'm using an old computer. I was in a dark room using an old computer because I'm not in my office right now. So but this animation looks really good in the other computer. Like it's really smooth, actually. Um, Sorry. And then we have an on click, and uh, every time we click one of the items, we want to grab the name and pass it to the function that we have here on select, this one. And you see it takes a value, a string value. So we want to grab this, copy, and we want to pass it here, but not just pass it. We have to provide a value, and the value will be item.name. If you remember, we have on this dot name. So um okay, so with that we can save, and now we have to do uh, the label for the select. So we do it like this. We want to show the label only if when the app is closed. So we negate it and say open, and then we say end, and then we just, let me just put right here, we want an animated div. Oh, it didn't close. What happened there? Animated div. Okay. Um, that animated div will have um, this style and this it will have the style, and the style will have the animation, this animation, the label. So it will be like this. It will be style, we pass label, that is the name of the animation. Then we have class name, because uh, we have a class for this, um, and that will be just styles dot select. And then inside of that we have, let me just put it right here, we have an h3 tag, and inside that h3 tag we have uh, the state option, that it was where we store the value, that it was the string value from here, the name. I don't know if you remember, we have a state for that. So this one, option, that we declared as an empty string, and it will grab here, it grabs the value that is this name. Oh, sorry. Okay, so Wait, what happened? Um, okay, save. Okay, so we were here on. Okay, so we were doing here, and we were passing option, and it will be option or sorry, uh, or and the placeholder will be select a gradient. So, and then um, the class name for that will be class name. Yeah, we have styles for everything. So I think it's a styles dot label. And then we have the icon that actually it will be an animated icon, but let's first do the states for that and the animation for the icon. So, or actually, let's just first save and watch it without the icon yet. So let's save. Okay, so here, so if I click here, select gradient, it opens. We have this, and it picks rare wind. Okay, if we pick this one, near moon. Okay, so it's working. Uh, so let's make the states for the hooks, for the state hooks for the chevron icon. So maybe a good name for the icon will be, we want to rotate the icon, the arrow. So const and maybe rotate chevron, and then set rotate chevron. So we call the use state hook. We say that we want to use a boolean, and first we start with false. So first it will be false, and then we want to declare, let me just go here and declare a variable that we will call, it will be a const, and it will call in rotate will be the name. So rotate chevron. So if that's true, I would like to rotate um, half the circle. So 180 degrees. That's half of 360. Uh, 360. So rotate, and the first position is 0, so that's when it's not rotated. And um, after that, we have to use it in the icon, because I think this is enough for making the rotation on the animation. Let's just do, where is it? Icon here. So we actually want an animated icon, and uh, so we actually need a class from, we are using font awesome um, for icons. So we had to, let me show you the Claire here. We have a link to, so we can use um, the font awesome kit. So you see, font awesome. So that's a bunch of icons that we can just integrate. So, and they have a lot of free icons. So I think it's a good, really good resource. So class name will be the class name of the arrow, fa chevron da, down. And we will, let me just put this down like here, and we will have a style, and in the style we have a transform, and it will have rotate, the constant rotate that handles the state of the arrow, this rotate. So it will have that as a transform. Where is it? Here. And also we have to make it smooth. So we say transition. So this is just for smoothness, basically. So it doesn't look like too harsh. So this will be 1.2 seconds, and it will be linear. Um, I think that's it. Let me just save file, save. Okay, so we have it there. We have a big fat arrow. Let's see if we click it. Actually, oh, I know what's the problem. So let me just go here. I think that, um, oh, we are not setting the arrow. Here we have to set rotate chevron, and we have to rotate chevron. That would be rotate. So same thing that we did with the menu, but this is for the arrow. And another thing is that we're handling two animations here. So one after the other. So we need like some sort of delay between these two, or otherwise one is going to just uh, not we won't be able to see the arrow. So I will set timeout. Set timeout. Sorry, out. So we have here arrow function, and I think I was checking and playing with the values, and the best value for me was this 300 milliseconds. So okay, so we put it here, then we save all. We hope to have no TypeScript errors. Type checking. Okay. Okay, so let's reset this. So select gradient. Select the gradient. Yeah, the arrow and then the animation. Yeah, that's great. And also speaking the names. Yeah, speaking the names. So I guess I'm going to push this to GitHub for you guys. So if you want to skip the tutorial and just read the code, you can do so. So I'm gonna stop here. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and have a nice, I don't know, night in my case. go go to find some rest. Bye guys.